Tony Hilliard. I normally make videos about repairing old motor cars, but in view of this terrible coronavirus and consequently here in France we are in lockdown at home, I thought something light-hearted and perhaps different was in order. Let me explain. My mum was a superb cook. As a child I used to watch her in the kitchen. It was like watching a magician at work. One of my favourite dishes was her currant buns. Recently my wife came across her original handwritten recipe, so I thought I would share it with you. I have to explain, I'm no cook. I can do lots of things, but cookery and baking are not really my thing. So I thought if I can produce something edible in the kitchen, anybody can. This video is targeted particularly at all those men who are already bored rigid from staying indoors. Let's be honest, when you see some of the cooks about, it can't be too difficult, can it? Let's see how we get on.
First priority, give your hands a really good wash with this coronavirus and general hygiene. This is my mum's original recipe. This is my modern take on it, which I'll post below. Here is the recipe printed out. If this is going a little bit quickly for you, you can always use the button on the bottom left-hand corner of your screen to pause it. This is what we're trying to achieve. They look nice, don't they? Ingredients: self-raising flour, margarine, sugar, sultanas or raisins, whichever, couple of eggs, salt, vanilla essence, milk, natural yogurt. And you're going to need a couple of baking trays like this. First thing to do is to turn the oven on so it can preheat. That's the oven, 180 degrees C. Next, with some paper kitchen towel, butter, wipe the inside of the baking trays. This stops the buns sticking to the baking trays. You'll see later. If it's done properly, they just pop out. Otherwise, they're going to disintegrate as you try and get them out of the baking tray. Next, couple of eggs in a small bowl. Then we want a tiny cap full of vanilla essence. You usually use the cap of the vanilla essence bottle. Then we want to mix it together. Don't mix it too quickly, otherwise you'll aerate it too much. Three tablespoons of milk, half a tablespoon of natural yogurt. That makes it lighter. That makes the buns lighter. Mix them all up. Again, don't go mad. Now that's ready to put in the mixture later. Now the margarine, tricky stuff to use. It's sticky as hell. You want to get 4 ounces of this all weighed out. Four ounces or just over 100 grams. It's important that your measurements are pretty accurate. 4 ounces, there we are. Now, it wants to be cut up into little cubes. You'll see why in a minute. It's a devil to mix, it's so sticky. But if you cut it up into little cubes, it makes mixing so much easier. Now we want to weigh out 4 ounces of sugar. This is granulated sugar. And you want to mix it in little by little with a mixer. Now this makes a very dry mix. It's strange stuff. But very important that it's mixed thoroughly. Now we're going to mix out the self-raising flour. If you can't buy self-raising flour locally, I'll explain below how to make it up. You want 8 ounces of that, or just over 200 grams. Pinch of salt, very important. Now we want to sieve the flour into the mixture. If you don't sieve it, it can be a bit heavy, so it makes it lighter if you sieve it carefully in. So you put some flour in, some of the egg mixture, mix it up, wait a bit. Once it's starting to mix nicely, then you put a little bit more flour in, a little bit more egg mixture. If you put it all in one go, it's a devil of a job. A little bit more flour, a little bit more egg. Now this ends up a consistency really sticky. It's a little bit like plaster. Different colour, but a little bit like plaster when it gets sticky. Also, if it's getting nice and sticky, you know you've got the right consistency. You're going to have to keep cleaning out the blades on the mixer, because its stuff sticks. Keep going till it's really sticky and thoroughly mixed. Then you're going to need to take the blades out. Good idea to unplug the mixer when you do this, because it has been known for the thing to turn on while you're trying to clean the blades out, and that is dangerous. Measure out your sultanas, again 4 ounces. Now whatever you do, use a wooden spoon and do this manually, little by little. If you try and use the mixer to put the sultanas in, the mixer will chop the sultanas up and you'll lose all the moisture from those sultanas or the raisins. And you've lost half the point of the buns. So mix it up by hand. Now we're coming up to the trickiest part. The tricky part. Once it's nicely mixed, you're going to put it into the tart trays. I use a palette knife and or an icing knife and a wooden spoon. This is tricky stuff. If you manage to do it without getting it everywhere, you're doing well. Don't put too much in each little mould, because by the time they're in the oven and they've started to expand, they'll be everywhere. So just a little dob in the bottom of each one. Do both trays while you're at it. Right, into a preheated oven. Now it depends on the oven how long this is going to take. On this oven it takes about 20 minutes. My mum's gas oven, it used to take between 20 and 25. But it just depends on your oven. You're going to have to try it and see. This is what they should look like when they're coming out. You know you've done the right job is if they not only taste nice, but they're slightly moist on the inside. If they're a little bit dry on the inside, the oven's too hot, or you've cooked them too long. Put the second tray in. Now the test to see if they stick to the pan, stick to the tray. They should have cooled down a little bit before you try this. There we go. They're coming out beautifully, not sticking at all. A little later I'll show the underside of the buns. They should be a darker brown where the butter has cooked the underside of the buns. There we are. And that batch, I think I got out 21, I think I did. There we are. That's what you're after. They are absolutely delicious. That's the underside, as you can see, darker from the butter.
I hope you found that interesting. If you have any of your parents' baking recipes and would like to email them to me, I will try them out and make a video for everyone to see. Why not? We are all a captive market at the moment. My email address is at the end of this video. Until next time, cheerio!